stay in the bath a little too long, or swim for an afternoon, and something quietly strange happens to your hands. You lift them out of the water and there they are, your fingertips gone soft and pruny, ridged and wrinkled like tiny raisins. You've seen it 1,000 times since childhood. It seems like the most trivial thing in the world, an everyday nuisance not worth a second thought. But hiding inside those wrinkled fingertips is a genuine scientific mystery, one that overturns what almost everyone believes about them and that scientists are still arguing over today. Because the reason your fingers wrinkle in water is almost certainly not what you think. Ask most people why it happens, and you'll get the same confident answer. The skin soaks up water, they'll say. It absorbs the moisture, swells up, and since there's more skin than there is room for, it buckles and wrinkles, like a shirt left too long in the wash. It sounds perfectly reasonable. Water goes in, skin puffs up, wrinkles appear. For a long time, that was the accepted explanation, a simple, passive bit of plumbing. And it is almost entirely wrong. Here is the clue that shattered the old idea. If wrinkling were just water passively swelling your skin, then it should happen to anyone's fingers no matter what. But it doesn't. Doctors noticed something remarkable long ago. In patients whose fingers had suffered certain kinds of nerve damage, where the nerve supplying a finger had been cut or destroyed, that finger would not wrinkle in water at all. It could soak as long as you liked and stay perfectly smooth, while the healthy fingers beside it pruned up as normal. Think about what that means. If the wrinkling were simple swelling from absorbed water, a nerve wouldn't matter one bit. The fact that a damaged nerve switches the wrinkling off tells us something astonishing. Your body is doing this on purpose. Because wrinkling is not passive at all. It is an active process, controlled by your nervous system. When your hands are submerged in water, your body detects it, and your sympathetic nervous system, the same ancient system behind your fight-or-flight response, sends a signal that makes the tiny blood vessels just beneath the skin of your fingertips narrow and constrict. As those vessels shrink, the volume beneath the skin drops, and the skin above is pulled downward into those distinctive puckered ridges. The wrinkles aren't your skin swelling outward with water. They're your skin being tugged inward by your own body. This response is so reliable that doctors have actually used it as a simple test of whether the nerves in a finger are still working. No wrinkles can mean a damaged nerve, and this is where the real mystery begins. Because if your nervous system goes to the trouble of actively creating these wrinkles, deliberately, on purpose, whenever your hands get wet, then that strongly suggests they are there for a reason. Evolution doesn't usually build an automatic, nerve-controlled response for no benefit at all. So, what could wrinkly fingers actually be for? The leading idea is beautifully simple: grip. Look closely at the pattern of wrinkles on a waterlogged fingertip, and you'll notice they aren't random. They form channels, little valleys running across the skin. The neuroscientist Mark Changizi and his colleagues studied these patterns and pointed out that they look remarkably like drainage networks, the branching channels that carry water downhill off a mountainside. Or, to put it in more familiar terms, like the tread on a car tire. A smooth racing tire gives great grip on a dry road, but in the rain it skids because a film of water gets trapped between the tire and the road. Treaded tires have grooves that channel that water away, letting the rubber bite down onto the surface. Changizi's idea was that wrinkled fingertips might work the same way, the channels squeezing water out from between your skin and whatever you're holding so you can grip wet objects more securely. Researchers put this to the test. In a study at Newcastle University, Tom Smulders and his colleague Kyriacos Kareklas asked people to pick up and move wet objects, like marbles and fishing weights submerged in water, passing them from one hand to a container. They did it twice, once with normal smooth fingers, and once after soaking their hands until their fingertips wrinkled, and the wrinkled fingers won. People moved the wet objects noticeably faster when their fingertips were pruned. Crucially, when the objects were dry, there was no difference at all. Wrinkles seemed to help specifically with wet things, exactly what you'd expect if they were built to be rain treads for your hands. It's a lovely, tidy story. But here is where I have to be honest with you, because science rarely stays tidy for long. A later study, led by researchers including Julia Haseleu in the laboratory of Gary Lewin, tried to reproduce that grip advantage and could not find it. In their experiment, wrinkled fingers offered no clear benefit in handling wet objects over smooth ones, so the grip hypothesis, as appealing as it is not settled. Some experiments support it, others don't. What scientists broadly agree on is the mechanism, that wrinkling is an active, nerve-driven response, not passive swelling. Why exactly your body evolved to do it, though, remains genuinely open. Still, the grip idea fits some intriguing details. Notice that it's your fingertips and your toes that wrinkle, the very parts of your body that grip and push against surfaces. If wet wrinkles were simply an accident of soaked skin, why would they show up precisely on your points of contact with the world? An ancestor foraging for food in a stream, gripping wet stones, prying shellfish from slippery rocks, or walking across a rain-soaked surface might have benefited from feet and hands that automatically improved their grip the moment they got wet. And because the wrinkles smooth back out once your hands dry, you get the wet weather grip when you need it, and the flat, sensitive fingertip the rest of the time. It's the kind of switchable, on-demand tool that evolution tends to favor, if indeed that's what it is. There are smaller wonders tucked into this everyday event too. The wrinkling usually takes around 5 minutes of immersion to appear, which is roughly how long it takes the nervous system to respond and the blood vessels to constrict. It happens more readily in fresh water than in very salty water. Another clue that it's a controlled biological reaction rather than simple soaking. And the whole thing is orchestrated silently by the same branch of your nervous system that races your heart when you're frightened, quietly reshaping your fingertips without you ever deciding to. You have never once chosen to wrinkle your fingers. Your body simply does it for you, every single time, following an ancient program written somewhere deep in your biology. So the strange truth is this: that wrinkly-fingered nuisance you've dismissed since childhood is not your skin passively drinking up water at all. It is a deliberate, nerve-controlled transformation, switched on by your body the moment your hands are submerged, possibly a built-in set of rain treads for gripping a wet world, though the scientists are still fighting over whether it truly works. A tiny, automatic, purposeful act performed by your own nervous system, hiding in plain sight on the ends of your fingers. So the next time you stay in the bath a little too long, or climb out of the pool after a long afternoon, and you lift your hands from the water to find your fingertips gone soft and pruny, ridged and wrinkled like tiny raisins, remember what you are really looking at. Not skin that soaked up too much water, but a quiet decision made by your own body, an ancient reflex reaching out to grip a wet world, still doing its patient work on the ends of your fingers, whether you understand it or not. Such an ordinary little wrinkle, and such an extraordinary one.